Imagine standing on the banks of the Nile as a royal barge glides past. On deck, beneath a striped linen headdress, sits a man you will never meet, and yet, in theory, your entire world depends on him. To the ancient Egyptians, stability didn't simply happen. Someone had to embody it. A body crafted to look eternal. A face engineered never to change. That someone was the pharaoh. In their own time, Egyptians didn't call their ruler pharaoh, not at first. For most of Egyptian history, he was simply the Nesut, the king. The word pharaoh originally meant great house, referring not to the man, but to the palace. Only much later, toward the end of the New Kingdom, did it become a title for the ruler himself. Egypt's unity began along the Nile, where scattered river villages slowly merged into powerful regions. By around 3100 BC, tradition credits a king named Narmer with doing the impossible, uniting the two lands, Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north. History tells us Narmer united Egypt, and art shows us how he wanted that story to be remembered. The Palette of Narmer is one of the earliest works of political art ever created. It's also one of the earliest narrative images and contains some of the oldest hieroglyphs ever found, including one of the first known portraits of an Egyptian king. It's considered so important that it has never once been allowed to leave Egypt. Unlike most early objects found in tombs, this one is commemorative, not funerary. It doesn't mourn a death, it celebrates a victory. The palette is about 2 feet high, carved in low relief, and shaped like an oversized cosmetic palette. No one ever used it for makeup. It was a ceremonial monument in miniature. On one side, Narmer towers above a kneeling enemy, frozen in the classic smiting pose, club raised, ready to strike. This way of constructing the human body, using a composite view, idealized anatomy, and hierarchy of scale, established visual conventions that Egyptian artists would follow for the next 3,000 years. The formal mathematical canon of proportions would later codify these ideas in the Old Kingdom, but their foundations begin right here. Even in this moment of violence, the king's body shows no effort. He never strains or sweats. Effort was human. Divine power required no exertion. Above him, the falcon god Horus grips a rope binding an enemy's head, which is emerging from a marsh, likely symbolic of Lower Egypt. This isn't just a king winning a battle, it's the gods themselves delivering Egypt into his hands. Flip it over and we see Narmer again, now wearing the red crown of Lower Egypt, inspecting rows of executed foes who have been decapitated and castrated, their severed parts placed between their legs. A priest in a leopard skin garment follows 4 divine standards. Below them, 2 serpopards, Near Eastern mythical creatures with long intertwined necks, frame a circular recess used for grinding and mixing makeup. At the top, inside a palace facade, is his name, Narmer, written with a catfish, Nar, and a chisel, Mer. Put them together, Narmer, an early phonetic signature. Narmer's palette fuses political power with divine will in a single image. From here on, kingship in Egypt is not simply ruling land, it's maintaining Ma'at, the cosmic order that keeps the universe from falling apart. To the Egyptians, images didn't just show order, they helped create it. An image of the king defeating chaos was not a record of something that happened once, it was a ritual act. Carving it, repeating it, showing it everywhere, this was how you kept the universe stable. Egypt functioned like a theocracy. Ultimate authority belonged to the gods. The pharaoh was their living representative. He judged disputes, led armies, dedicated temples, and oversaw rituals, or rather, rituals were performed in his name. There was no law code carved in stone like Hammurabi in Mesopotamia. There was the king. In theory, his judgment was the law. So how do you convince millions of people that one human being is divine? You do it with images, with crowns, poses, and proportions that whisper, This is not just a man, this is the axis of the universe. Egyptian art builds an entire visual vocabulary of kingship. Crowns for the lands he ruled, the tall white crown of Upper Egypt, the low red crown of Lower Egypt, and the double crown for unification, the false beard and the striped Nemes headdress, the cobra uraeus rearing from his forehead, ready to strike. But above all, kingship was expressed through the body itself, not as it was, but as it must be. Egyptian artists didn't try to capture a king's likeness, they tried to capture his role. And they did it with math, the canon of proportions, or the old kingdom standard grid. At times, different kings were carved with almost the same face. Artists followed a divine template, not individual features. The goal wasn't likeness, it was eternal kingship. Using an 18-square grid from heel to hairline, they placed every feature with precision. The navel always lands on the same line. The elbow always falls in the same square. For centuries, royal bodies were constructed by the rules. Figures appear as composites, heads and legs in profile, shoulders and eyes frontal. It looks strange to us, but it's intentional, a way of showing the most complete, knowable version of each body part at once. Men step forward with their left foot, women stand with feet together. This is not art as self-expression, this is art as visual theology. To break from this system wasn't creativity, it was heresy. Khafre Enthroned shows this system at its peak. Khafre, builder of the second pyramid at Giza, sits upright on a massive throne. His back is straight, pressed to the block behind him. His arms are rigid. His feet rest evenly on the plinth. His face is smooth, ageless, eerily calm. No wrinkles, no strain. A frontal gaze that doesn't meet ours because it's looking past us, beyond time. Royal statues weren't meant for bright light. In dark temple chambers, a single beam of sun or torchlight could make their polished eyes flash as if alive. To ancient viewers, the king wasn't a memory, he was watching. A forward-facing pose was the posture of eternity. A king who never turns, never shifts, never ages. Behind his head, carved in shallow relief, Horus, the falcon, wraps protective wings around the king's skull, sheltering his mind. Along Khafre's throne, lotus and papyrus, the emblems of Upper and Lower Egypt, are carved as if tied together. The throne itself declares the message. As the plants are bound into one, so the king unites the two lands. The statue is carved from anorthosite gneiss, long mislabeled as diorite, a stone so hard and luminous it was fit only for a god king. Quarried in Nubia and transported north at enormous cost, this was not a stone you chose to experiment with. It was a stone you chose when you wanted something to last forever. Khafre's statue isn't a portrait. It's a cosmic anchor, a backup body in which his Ka, his life force, could live for eternity. The goal isn't to capture the person's likeness. The goal is permanence. Nearby, Menkaure and his queen stand side by side, equal in height, forward-facing, idealized. At first glance, it seems formulaic, then something human emerges. Her arm tenderly wraps around him. Her hand rests gently on his torso, a quiet gesture of support, of partnership. Their bodies are youthful, perfect, untouched by age, not because they were young, but because kings and queens must be eternal. These statues weren't decorative, they were spiritual infrastructure. If the mummy was damaged, the Ka could inhabit these instead. Look closer, and you see the work is unfinished. His headdress lacks its carved stripes. There is no uraeus cobra, not even the hole where one would be attached. His kilt should bear incised lines, but the sculptor never cut them in. Faint traces of red linger on his ears. A whisper of yellow once touched her face. Even the finest stone, greywacke, was often painted to make the figures visible in the temple's dim light. At her feet, the marks of carving are still present, but as your eye travels upward, the rough stone dissolves into subtly modeled bodies, smooth, polished, almost radiant. Human in gesture, eternal in purpose. Even here, perfection remains the point. Every muscle, every lock of hair exists for one purpose: to guarantee the stability of kingship beyond death. When we hear propaganda, we think of manipulation. For the Egyptians, it was something else: reassurance. Art repeated the same message again and again. The king is calm. The king is powerful. The king is favored by the gods. The world is in order. You never see a pharaoh grimacing in pain. You never see him sick, old, or overwhelmed. Not because those things never happened, but because showing them would be dangerous. A crack in the cosmic facade. Egyptian art was conservative because life depended on predictability. The sun rose on schedule, the Nile flooded on schedule, and the king, carved in stone, must also remain exactly as he should be. Even if you had never heard a decree or saw the palace, you would see the message repeated in stone. The king is in control. Ma'at endures. But not every Egyptian was a god king. As social status decreases, something interesting happens. Formality relaxes and realism increases. The seated scribe sits cross-legged with a papyrus on his lap. His belly softens. His chest sags slightly. His inlaid eyes stare out with startling intensity. This is a human being, a face with fatigue, asymmetry, age. To depict a pharaoh like this would be unthinkable. But a scribe, a court official, the more human you are, the more human you can look. Later in the Middle Kingdom, some royal portraits, such as those of Senusret III, began to hint at anxiety, fatigue, worry. Heavy eyelids, furrowed brows, sagging cheeks. As if, just briefly, the weight of holding the world together left marks on the king's face. These moments are rare. Most royal images belong to a realm beyond emotion. Because the king's calm wasn't emotionless, it was eternal. The Nile shaped Egypt's sense of order, and Egypt carved that order into stone. At its center stood the pharaoh, the eternal face of power, a face smoothed of fear, a body perfected by mathematics, a gaze fixed beyond time. The Egyptians did not sculpt the king as he was, they sculpted the king as the world needed him to be. Perfect, unchanging, divine.